Hello everyone, my name is Ricardo, Canary Lotus on Instagram, Ravelry, Facebook and YouTube, and this is the third episode of my Everything Crafty podcast, The Canary's Nest. This is a podcast related to everything dealing with fibers, more specifically knitting, sewing, embroidery, and since a couple of days ago felted yarn. I also do some crocheting, but it's not something I do very often. Anyway, this is the third episode of this podcast in English language. Unfortunately, it was a podcast that was supposed to have at least 2 other episodes, but life was kind of hard in the last couple of months. I had some health issues in which they forced me to stop working for a couple of weeks, 3 to be more accurate. Since I was supposed to film the episode just before having those health issues, I couldn't film the episode, and then I got so many stuff come together that I couldn't do the episode once again. So basically this episode that was supposed to have almost the same content as the Spanish one has actually 1 month of content that I cannot show you, because basically it will be too hard to gather all this content together. So I will kind of, sorry, there's some alarm there. I hope so. Well, anyway, so I hope to do some kind of summary of what happened to my crafting life for the last couple of months. Since I just had this assessment that I'm not able to separate all the podcasts as I was supposed and I was hoping to do, the whole idea was that I wanted to do a podcast. 1 week will be French, the other one will be Spanish, the next one will be English, and then once again French, Spanish, English, French, Spanish. So it was supposed to be once a week for each language, which means that and every episode will have one new episode once every 3 weeks, sorry. But it's very hard to do. So instead of doing that, I will try to do all the filming, all the editing in 1 single day, which means that instead of what I told you, that episodes were not supposed to be the same, more of them will be basically the same. Hope you like it anyway, and I hope that I will keep to this rhythm. Otherwise I will try to find something else to be able to do the 3 language podcasting. So anyways, this podcast, as you will see, will have some major modifications in the way it is edited, because before I tended to do 1 single video and then just put it all together in the internet with some addition, image inserting, some comments and so on. But since it is pretty hard to do this kind of stuff, I decided to film single segments, 1 for each section, and put all the sections together afterwards, which is much more easy to manage for me, because for starters I have less content in terms of length to manage, knowing that anything going further than 60 minutes is very difficult to edit using the software I'm using. And also it is better for me because I tend to redo the whole thing if any mistake happens. So instead of just redoing every single time, I just 5 minutes or 10 minutes at a time is much better. So that's for it. Hope you like the new format. Hope to be able to keep to the rhythm, and let's start with the finished objects. So finished objects. This time I have many finished objects to present to you. The first one, I will start with knitting. The first one is sweater, which is the Joji Locatelli's Boxy, which I'm presenting to you. It's still not locked, because this version of the Boxy, it was kind of the the worst experience ever in knitting in my life. Why? Because it is white. I don't know. I have already told it to you, but I love colors. I love colors, and this is not a color. So basically, whenever I was supposed to knit this, I was like, oh, really, it is so boring, so boring, so boring, so boring. And I was so bored with this that it never went as fast as it was supposed to go. At one point, I just put it in hibernation around here. And one day, it was just after the last episode, I decided that I was fed up with this. I just wanted to get rid of this, so I kind of fast tracked all the way, and did that in like I think 4 days, something like that. It was pretty fast because I was so I couldn't see it anymore, so I just wanted to get rid of it. This is a sweater that I knitted for a friend whose name is Clotilde. She lives in Switzerland, and once it is blocked, I will be sending it to her and never go back to see it again because I hate it. Even if I do love this pattern, but it's just that this specific version is just like no way. I knitted it using commercial yarn. It is a thread from Katia, which is called Baby Merinos. It is Merino Superwash one. Yeah, it's only Merino Superwash. And the other thread, the blue one, it is a cotton concept from Katia also. It is mix of cotton. I think it is like should be something like 85–90% cotton, and the other 10% is cashmere. I think it is great. It looks great together, but once again, I hate this sweater. I don't want to see it anymore, so just skip it. The other project that I knit just after that one is, and I kinda prepared the feel for this one last time. It's the Brioche Delicious by Andrea Mori, which I knitted for my wife. And I used 4 different threads. The first one is hedgehog fibers socks, and it is the pesto colorway. The second color, the first contrasting color, is Canadian yarn from an indie dyer whose brand name is Riverside Studio. This is the MCN sock, which is a mix of merino, cashmere, nylon, and it is the teal colorway. Then I used the yarn from my friend and indie dyer Emma, whose brand is Air de Lune. She's based in the United States, so if you are seeing this and you want some magnificent yarn, go see her Etsy shop. It is just, you just see this screen. I mean, come on, it's just marvelous. So go ahead, it's also. Yeah, the one thing is that this color has no name, because what she does is that she dyes memories. So basically, she takes a picture, and whatever is in the picture, she tries to reproduce it in yarn. Sometimes she does some kits. In my case, I purchased a kit with 4 skeins. It was called Secrets of the Woodland, and it was a picture from the forest. In the forest there was 4 main colors, and she reproduced the 4 colors together, and this green is one of them. So it's Secrets of the Woodland skein number 1, let's say, and it's granny green, yeah, granny green, just like a maple. It's a magnificent color. The last contrasting color is this merino silk color from Madeleine Philibert. The colorway is called Prague. It's an indie, a French indie dyer, and I think that the three together look awesome. It was a pretty fast to do project. It took me like let's say maybe 10-12 days, something like that. Especially because I started knitting it just during my period of not working. So basically the only thing I did it during the day was knitting, so it was pretty fast. I love to knit the brioche. This is the first time I do something of this size with brioche, so it was nice. My only regret on this pattern is that I think that the price of the pattern against the actual creation behind it, it's kind of disproportionate. I mean, it's a pretty simple pattern. There is not too many difficulties for the designer, I mean, to create something like this. Anyone could come with this kind of pattern, and it's so basically I think I don't think it should be free. Don't misunderstand me. Neither do I think that it's not a good pattern. I actually love it, but I think that asking $7 or more for this is kind of excessive. So maybe adjust a little the prices of the pattern could be a good idea. I don't know. I think it's kind of simple, but it works pretty well. So whatever. The pattern is by Andrea Mori, whose pattern I love, but once again I think that this one is too pricey, but what it is. The next pattern I want to present you, and the finished object that I want to present you is this shawl that I test knitted for Julie Knits in Paris for the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. And it was a collaboration between her and the La Féfile, who's a French indie dyer. The pattern is called Chevronné, and it's a magnificent shawl. This shawl is the pattern was done to be able to put a good use of gradients. I actually use a double gradient, which is something is the first time I use it a double gradient. My double gradients come all from La Féfile because of the collaboration between her and Julie Knits in Paris. The first one is called Bain de Nuit. So it could, in English, should be something like night shower or something like that. It is a black color that goes from black to gray and to black again. The next one is I Love Pink, which is this candy-like, pink candy-like or something like that. Pink that goes from pink to red and then to pink again, and the last one is this blue that goes from dark blue to a lighter shade of blue, and it's called Azulejos. It's dark blue to light blue to dark blue again. The pattern is pretty easy. There is No, it's not a difficult pattern, at least not as far as I consider it. The only difficulty I had was while blocking it, because while cutting the loose threads, I kind of went over the top with my cutting and cut actually the shawl altogether. So I cut something here, and all the threads went until here, so I had to rebuild the whole section, just this part of it. Hopefully I was able to do it, and it's actually pretty invisible. You can't see it. You will not be able to see it if you don't know what you are supposed to look at. You will not be able to see it. The only thing that is kind of weird is this, because I had a knot here. That's the only leftovers of this emergency repair that I had to do. But other than that, it is a pretty easy shawl to knit. The shape is kind of odd, at least for me, because I'm a big guy. I'm 1.87 m tall. It's something like 6 foot 3 tall. So it means that it's it's not as big as it should for me, but for anyone smaller than me, it's a great shawl. And I was pretty proud of the colors, because I had a serious doubt about them while knitting, because I had never knitted with double gradients. It was pretty difficult to know what will the shawl will be once it will be finished. And then it's awesome, and I loved to knit the shawl, especially because I love all the patterns from Julie. I think that she's a great designer, and hopefully I will be able to participate to another test knit from her and sometime from here. The last knitting finished object that I want to show you is this shawl. It's another test knit for the Edinburgh Yarn Festival with Lafayette also, but this time for a designer and friend whose name is Mathieu Arnold. This scarf is called Montbard, and it's a textured knit. I hope you can see it. It's a beautiful textured stitch pattern, and there is another one in the middle. Can you see it? And if I show you both of them together, you'll see the difference. So this scarf I knitted it in using not Lafayette threads, because I didn't have what it was required for this. This was made for using single threads, but I didn't have what was required to do this kind of pattern. So instead of using what I had in my stash, I used a single from Uncommon Thread, BFL singles, which is a great one. The colorway is Ashes to Ashes, and I used the rest of my Brioche-Alicious, the first contrasting color, which is the teal from Riverside Studio, with it's an MCN sock, and I think that the final result is awesome. It is a pretty easy pattern to do. Very easy to memorize in terms of the stitch pattern. The only point is that there are many slipped stitches, so in my side I found it kind of frustrating, because when I slip stitch I'm not as fast as when I knit it. So it took me some time, but not too much, about theory, maybe 40 hours, something like that, which is not too much. Still, for me, it's kind of long for a show, because it took me almost 3 weeks, and I actually was not able to provide my copy at the estimated time, which was a pity, but I was able to finish the third section the day it was supposed to be finished, so it was okay. So that's for the knitting. I do have some other projects in sewing, because last time, as I told you, I started sewing lessons in yarn shop, yarn and sew shop, tissue pie, more like fabric shop, called Brand de Coussette. And there I was able to learn how to sew and how to use my magnificent Janome machine, a sewing machine. And I was able to do some projects. The first one was a bag. I will put the picture in the screen. The second one was how to say it? It's like a pillow. I don't know how to say it in English. I don't have it here. Anyway, I will put a picture there. It's a pretty easy project. The next one was a t-shirt, which I have here. This one was made for my wife. It's the first time I make something wearable in using my sewing machine. It's pretty much perfect, but everywhere but here, in the head, in the neck, because I had some issues putting this band of thread. But however, it's pretty good. It's kind of big for my wife because I didn't have her measures, and even if I took the smallest size, it's still too big for her, so I will be modifying the pattern to be able to do something that actually fits her, and so in some time I will be able to do something for myself. And I also did this bag for my knitting. It is pretty much as well constructed as a fringe bag. The only thing is that I had some major modifications inside it. I cannot show it because it is full of yarns with my whip, but I'm pretty proud of it. I actually did another version of it. I will put the picture in the screen for a swap that was organized by another French podcaster, whose name is Lalou. Her podcast name is Le Journal de Lalou. She does not do English podcast, but if you know some French, I do recommend to see her because her universe is so good. I mean, she does magnificent stuff, and I love what she does, especially when she's crocheting and drawing. But whatever, I did 2 versions of this, and I'm starting to think about doing some other stuff that I will talk about in the next section, which is the whips. But before that, I will be talking about my new addiction. In Paris, we had, during my absence here in the English podcasting world, there were 2 major congress for yarn lovers. The first one was the Les Villains Fêtes, which was it's kind of everything goes regarding yarn, fabrics altogether actually. So if you sew, if you do some embroidery, if you do some knitting or crocheting or whatever related to fabrics, that's the place to go. And there I bought some things, but in the next one, which is called La Fête de la Laine, or the Yarn Fest, they had this little booth in which they were selling products to use in felted yarn objects. So I bought this, and another one, which is only the instruction sheet to doing a mice. And so I bought this, and thinking, okay, let's see if it what it takes. I was kind of curious of using the techniques used to do some felted yarn. I have never do this kind of thing before, and I was kind of curious. The thing that you get for it is this kind of like a virgin but colored yarn that you can use to start your felting. So the whole idea of this, because the felting is done with a needle, is that you get this like I don't know how to say it in English, but anyway, you get this thing and you get these needles. In these needles you have some little points that you will not be able to see at the screen, but it's not flat. I mean, if you see it like something like it scratches, and the whole idea is to start doing something like this. With the friction, the yarn felts, and because you are doing this manually, and with the needle you are able to give it the whatever shape you want to. So I did the little mice to start with, and then I did the little bird that is here. The only thing is that I thought that a bird without wings was not really a bird, so I added some wings, and I think it's pretty good actually. So I found it so funny that just like 10 minutes, no, maybe not 10 minutes, but 2 or 3 hours after I finished the subject, I decided that I needed more yarn to felt. So I went to an Etsy shop and I bought another one just for me to be able to do this kind of stuff. So another addiction, that's great. I don't have too many yet, so everything is perfect. I mean, I will show you my stash, because I will not be doing the classic Stash and Talk section that I do for this episode, just because if I did, I will have too many things to show you. So I will rather present you only a picture of my stash as it is right now, just for you to know the how to say it, the extensiveness of the damage I've been doing to my bank account lately. So last year I went through all my stash, and I decided that most of it was not my style anymore. So I finally, after sorting it all out, I decided to donate 70% of it to some charity, and it was kind of like it was painful to give all that yarn, because we're talking about something like maybe 200 skeins or something like that, which is quite an amount. And since then I've been adding new stuff, because it's kind of like this fear of the void that I keep having. And well, I will not go through all the additional stuff that I had in my stash, because it will take me so much time to do that kind of stuff. However, I just put a picture of the damage I've been doing. It is pretty colorful, so I'm happy with it, but I really need to stop buying as much yarn as I'm doing right now, because at one point it will not be feasible in terms of just space to keep it all together, and my banker will not be happy with the whole stuff. Anyway, I propose just exceptionally to stop the episode here, just because the last time that I tried to do the Netflix section, it was a total mess actually. I'm not pretty sure that you will like it you will like me to continue this section in the English episode. So if you don't like it, just please tell me. If you like it to come back, please tell me so I can prepare it better the next time. Hope you liked this episode, and I hope that I will be able to find a way to do this English version of it more often, or at least if not as often as the French one or the Spanish ones, at least once a month as it was supposed to be. But hope you liked the episode, and see you next time. Have a good day and happy crafting, and till next time. See ya. Bye.